power supply in the country. Also in the bulletin, Energy Minister has assured of resolving the standoff between the Senior Staff Association of the Northern Electricity Distribution Company and Volta River Authority and their managing director. We also have for you President Akufo-Addo has warned chairpersons of boards and chief executives of state-owned enterprises to set up and bring forth strategic ways to develop the country. And also, National Youth Authority has advised students not to engage in sexual activities as they observe Valentine's Day. Well, we have the details of these stories and many more coming up to you on the Wake Up News, including sports. Please do stay with us. Well, thank you very much for your time this morning. Let's now begin in the Volta region, where a 4-year-old boy nearly lost his life in the Volta region when an ambulance
explained that the nurses made a wrong call and hence failed to reach the ambulance service. Dr. Senenu further indicated that the child was, however, sent to the teaching hospital where he is responding to treatment.
What we have gathered on this particular matter is that a night before the incident, the child had come to one of our facilities here in the Volta region, that is the health center at Yopi. And per assessment, they were referred to the teaching hospital in Ho, which is about 20 minutes drive. The mother was unable to go to the teaching hospital on that night and came the next day where the child was moderately to severely ill. The nurses on duty made efforts to reach the ambulance service, and that is where the challenge is. They were not able to get through to the ambulance service through the control center. Later, we were to find out that the number that particular nurse had was not the control center's number. So it meant that the information had not gotten to the ambulance service. But in the midst of that delay, the nurse made a quick judgment call that if the child can go to Ho unassisted, then it will be prudent that an alternative vehicular arrangement is made. So the arrangement was made for this child. The child got to the teaching hospital safely. And as I speak now, he's responding to treatment.
According to Dr. Senenu, the government has invested a lot in the ambulance service to ensure progress regarding their operations. Addressing the said protocol, he said the hospital are all linked to the ambulance, making it difficult for them to respond to emergencies if the control center is unaware of any reports.
Over the period, the country has invested in the ambulance service, and we have made progress. But definitely, we still have some gaps that we have to deal with, we have to fill. So we are hoping that some of these exposures will lead us to further strengthen the referral system in the country. The hospitals are linked to all the ambulances, and knowing that it's only one ambulance operating per district, sometimes they could be engaged. So when you speak to the control center, they will link you to the ambulance. So that is the protocol. You have to get to the control center. The control center would get you the ambulance that is available at that point. And the ambulance will move to that particular point, pick the client, and then send to the hospital that the client has been referred to. So that is the laid-down protocol that we work with.
Relatively, the Minister for Health, Kwaku Ajuman-Menu, has also disclosed that discussions are still ongoing with Cabinet about charges to be imposed on some services rendered by the National Ambulance Service. According to the sector minister, the charges will be used to fuel the ambulances, which is often a hurdle for the emergency agency. Speaking at the inaugural ceremony of the governing board for the service, the minister said it is hopeful the proposal will be accepted soon by Cabinet for onward implementation. Now, moving forward, the director of the National Youth Authority, Mr. Mumuni Suleiman, has advised students not to engage in sexual activities as they observe Valentine's Day. According to him, some youth have different thoughts about Valentine's Day celebration, lamenting the usual shortage of condoms during the period.
Valentine's Day is celebrated to remember the life and legacy of Saint Valentine and to express love and affection towards others. Every year on 14 February, schools celebrate this day by sending messages of love and affection to partners, families, and friends. However, some youth use the occasion to indulge in several sexual activities with their intimate partners. To ensure the youth stay decent on this year's occasion, Mr. Mumuni Suleiman, upon his visit to some schools, has advised students to avoid engaging in activities that would result in sexual pleasure.
The National Youth Authority, you say, Valde at the par, and a trace a bois, obia, the Siciano, young people need to be a cofa Valentine, say, a dear a trace or more. At the bonnet. We hear history of Valentine in Ghana now. Anytime you have Valentine, condoms are a shortage. As an institution in charge of youth affairs, this is core secondary schools. Now you have church omumu at the cry a church omuye and I say Val's Day the a church a koso.
Mr. Mumuni also cautioned the elderly against encouraging the youth to engage in intimate relationships.
We are saying you woman, as a never be assassin, and ama penny bonnet empo. We are saying among can crank the youth no. And the Ubetman who said, young person, on trese, or be open lead this young person into that because this condoms are can Ubeji said most often and yet even their colleagues who penny phone ya you see sound cry.
Some students, for their part, express gratitude for the sensitization given to them.
Such programs don't normally come to the second cycle education sectors, but we really appreciate this one came unfortunately. Actually, we learned that Val's Day is not just for love, for sex and all that kind of things that current students or current teens are engaged in, but rather for the love mother will have for son and son will have for mother. And this is what we learned, and we really appreciate for that opportunity and that privilege as well.
NYA for the children, almost Valentine. It's not the day for sex. So Valentine's Day, if you can give your friend a gift, but not sex, so she stay away from sex because it can lead to unwanted pregnancy, and that can lead to drop from school. So what I also like to say that we thank them very much for coming to educate us on Valentine's Day.
We are still on the Valentine's Day celebration. In the following report, Globe TV News solicits Ghanaians' perceptions on the aims and objectives of the occasion.
To me, I understand Valentine as showing love to your partner, and I would say it is done purposely for couples and those in a relationship. You can show love to your enemies, but it's like enemies is maybe if it's Christmas time, that one, but from my understanding, Valentine purposely is for showing love to your partner.
Emma awarefo. If you say you share obroni niema ye no, ye bibifo no, ye piki omu niema ye. But any kwan say ye piki.
My father no ye no.
Sa disua no na ese omonhwe so nyen se niam beach obetina accident basa emwa Valentina na no Roman father no humobo formobo nti we no ebetima ba say student on betimi akọ prison on betimi akọ hospital akọ hwe ayare for the aya disua de na nyen obohu beach kro mko ebetima ba say obi kura ama nti kwan amfa so de maninje ho sa side no me madwun say nya Valentine no kwa na ye chaade ba wodo dofu kura pia nya kwan a omfa so say omo ya ombewie na wo ewo akire no
se ka Valentine Day me hu say enye se ne nem rante ne meba wa no edi no enam adwamammo kwan so ne sa no ma no eye emra ewo se etwe ben Nyankopon mo na ehu se emre biduru ya Nyankopon ene di kan edo wiase ebra wiase nyina akobone mu na ode ne dogba Yesu Kristo mai so omra mewu emeji yenkwa nti ya ebra se reflect to the Nyankopon ayamaye no na enso ye de kire odo kire ho ye ho na emum enye bonsam kwan so odo a de kwa adwamamum ne sa no mabone nti me hu say youth no eyade a omafom kwan kran so omosan eba the original road no so na ma ware die me bomode pa na mato ade bi akoche me yere na fie nso me nkora me ne omoye adwuma nso no ma bomode ato bibi ade ache won nti de meye no.
Now moving forward, alcohol and drug use affect many parts of the body, including the brain. Young people's brains are particularly at risk as they continue to develop. Now addiction treatment is virtually absent as many believe addiction is a spiritual problem. In the following report, Abina Makofi brings to light the struggles of addicts.
Addiction is seen as a disease of the brain due to the states of physical and psychological dependence of the use of alcohol and other drugs. It is believed that this brain disease cannot be cured but only depart after taking the life of the addicted. Nonetheless, recovery is possible since no one is hopeless. The use of drugs and other harmful substances in Ghana is speedily evolving into a serious concern. The horrifying rate of abuse, especially among the youth, can be traced to the highly dysfunctional family system, unemployment, the frustration of students lacking access to further education, and the economic situation in the country. The saddest part of the situation is the increasing number of teen users. Some drug users willing to quit smoking shares their experience with Globe TV News. Kwabena, what's a what station has it? Adwuma be na oye.
Pacho menya adwuma bia.
Ti what station has na outin then na oye wa.
Pacho aya duru ba bia metim kopia hwibalo odwom.
Okay, drugs ne mu de anyi bi na oye.
Na me no nsa na me no jot. Ba esia na sore ne ba no ma hu se nsa no matimaja nsa no ba me bom pa ese nyambe bo na matimaja jot no so.
Ti se won no nsa aka jot ne nko. E de utimi no jot be sese.
Jot ne de mintimi ncheke de matima no. Ebi se adamfo bi kula o twen obetimi di PC ai den ama o ntimi.
Wa station ha se ne obetimi e de peace ma won so no.
Say also to our baby man be into on so to no twen on so betima pass o nti sa
nti wunya ya obeja ye nso aka
me bom pa ese nya me nyimi mfiri ni nyina nya me pese ka me yesa ba ade na so manya wura ma wie ti me bom pa me da bia me da me ka kire me nya me so nsisa me mfiri sa tibia no.
Okay, me firi Laura baba ri chima be 20 years ni na fosem me ba so na me na fufu bi na nam isi meduma ka so munyina o prison amba no me no mo niema na me no mo ye wi ene tramo ba isi no majai sa niema nyina ba de ba ko ha me ne nsa ene joto ame no no ene se e mi problem se nka msu mitimi ja sa niema so ka e ni ho anka be boa me
wi ni tramo no no be say how many years
wi ni de me start wi no me na me 10 years. And I'm start.
Sisi when you feel say?
You say me what 36.
Ujai we need Tramon how many years in?
Okay, me jai we need Tramon. Them was about 5 years in here.
To what station? Since you been now, you what station?
Say what station? I'm on first and I'm cement. But I'm going to mam na kawe busi na mko mko praba na mnyaj mabiabi. Timisora meteho.
Me pacho na mitom pabu abe sisi die majai.
I didn't know ujai how one it.
Because wow enye enkoyi
eden ama ni nkoyi eden enkoyi
sena Smith, I like we know. Cashew no my nintino. Next kanya the any system no. And one tina me the media.
Now one no monsa be say how many years?
Me starting Saturday na me wo P5. O cannot credit.
O starting sanom now o P5. Now I wo for ya we say wo no monsa.
Me pacho ai.
But just say o kwa SS nyana na wo no monsa ni na wo SS.
Me pacho ai.
Now wo 33 years.
Me pacho ai.
So when I say one monsa 27 years. And 28 years.
Ebrupa.
See say what station here wo no onya adwuma bia. Hanti then na opese eh say onya obeja
messenger me messenger wa
oya messenger ma hwan
sa suma
so bia pese ana wasuma nti me busa we yo si say ya wonya adwuma bia ya wo he ska onya na wonya ska na wo de aton sana no
me pa show na mfusem we ne besuma wa ebia gc so what I say sanity
this say why you wadwen say obeja yen sane no
me pacho ai
where you wasipi say obeja yen san na o ma menom etiase omo yawe
me pacho ai omo yawe.
It is disheartening to see all these people who are willing to quit smoking, but due to the lack of rehabilitation center, their lives are gradually fading away. It is heartbreaking for me to live in a country where the leaders only talk about politics and the economy, neglecting the perishing. The big question remains, where are we heading as a country? Where do these addicts who are willing to recover go from here? Here in the Bono East region, all these people roam about the Tachimanwa station without any signs of hope. For Globe TV News, I am Abena Makafui.
And now on Energy Gridco says substantial funding has been received to enable them to reconstruct many of their old legacy lines to guarantee a more stabilized supply of power in the country. The dip in the power supply is a result of the altering of their systems at Galamsey site of old legacy machines that need to be replaced. Speaking at a media press hearing of the Information Ministry Chief Executive Officer of Gridco Ebenezer Kofi Esienye indicated that the recent commissioning of 3 substations will help stabilize the situation.
We really need to work together on these aspects of things. Overgrown of our lines, we need to clear them. A lot has happened with the grid appear to be quite calm and stable. The grid really doesn't like too much of noise, and therefore we are making a conscious effort to clear the lines, but it comes at a huge cost. And we need to count on you to let us educate our brothers whose farms these lines go through, so that if there are trees that are in their farm, we may have to cut them. It will impact a little on some of their cocoa trees. It is not with bad intention, but it is for the good of all of us. That's why we do those things. You can see the picture that shows where a line passes. It's quite challenging. Some of the lines go through very thick forest, extremely thick. And the reason is that we also try to minimize the cutting or going through the forest without opening it up too much. That leads to those who go and illegally harvest the timber. So we blend the two in the way we do our things. Galamsey, I don't know whether the gold has started to normally form around the base of our towers. It's becoming a problem for us where Galamseyers consciously dig under our lines. There are challenges where we needed to go and relocate the tower at an additional cost. The one that was working so well, but you can see that the line guys who come and tell us that tower is collapsing because, or some of the steel members have been removed by the Galamseyers, because I understand they use it to do whatever in their tunnels. I've never been to any of the tunnels, so I don't know how they do it, but that's what I understand. These are things that we need to let our brothers and sisters appreciate, that This infrastructure are there for our collective good, and we need to protect them. Occasionally, as a power system, we normally have some challenges. Normally, when you see the lines, you don't see the fire on them, but they are extremely dangerous. Extremely. They are quiet, but they are extremely dangerous. And therefore, when we make the case that, look, we need to stay off the right of way because of challenges. Quite recently, a typical one tipper truck. You know, when people see the corridor that are available, they assume it has no purpose.
Away from that, the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, has assured of resolving the standoff between the Senior Staff Association of the Northern Electricity Distribution Company and the Volta River Authority and their Managing Director. He made this known after he met with the association to listen to their grievances. The staff of NEDCO partially reviewed their services at all operational areas on Wednesday, February 8th. The industrial action was due to the failure of the Board of Directors to meet the demand of the staff calling for the removal of the Managing Director Osman Alu Diba Ayuba after several engagements. However, the Energy Minister, during his engagement with the association, urged the senior staff members to calm down and approach issues with a great deal of objectivity, devoid of emotional sentiment. Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh reiterated his commitment to ensuring the resolution of all intra- and inter-organizational conflicts within the sector as we work together to ensure maximum productivity. Now you're watching the Wake Up News live on Globe TV. Still to come, the police in the Ashanti region have arrested 2 persons believed to be behind the trafficking of foreign nationals. Also, President Akufo-Addo has warned chairpersons of boards and chief executives of state-owned enterprises to set up and bring forth strategic ways to develop the country. Well, do stay with us for more details. Welcome back. Now, the police in the Ashanti region have arrested 2 persons believed to be behind the trafficking of foreign nationals to engage in begging in Ghana. The 2, a driver and his accomplice, were picked up on Monday after over 20 Nigerians transported to Ghana were left stranded at a basic school in the Asokore Mampong municipality, although the nationals insisted they were transiting to Ivory Coast from Niger. The driver and 1 other person who brought them said Ghana is the final destination. The nationals, both adults and children, sought shelter in the open of a basic school for 3 days. Officials of the Asokore Mampong Municipal Assembly intervened after they were informed about the presence of foreign nationals in the area, leading to the arrest of the 2 persons. Now, President Akufo-Addo has warned chairpersons of boards and chief executives of state-owned enterprises to set up and collaborate with the government and bring forth strategic ways to develop the country or be removed from his government. He also charged CEOs of state-owned enterprises to support addressing the current economic situation. President Nana Addo made this statement at the 2023 State Interest and Governance Authority annual stakeholder meeting in Kwahu Nkwatia on Friday.
According to the president, the current state of the economy demands collaborative action and expertise of all his appointees to support building a potent economy. President Akufo-Addo expressed worry about how some board chairs and CEOs have relaxed without their significant infusion in handling the economy, while others received the backlash. He called on them to sit up or get fired. Nana Akufo-Addo also directed all SOEs to submit all management accounts by the close of 28th February 2023 to the Controller and Accountant General's Department for consolidation. The president disclosed that as of the third quarter of the year 2022, only 54% of SOEs submitted their financial statement for consolidation into the national account. According to him, non-compliance with financial reporting timelines remains a challenge for SIGA and his government.
If we desire to transform our economy and nation, then our specified entities must rise up to the task, be productive enough to support our economy, and compete at the global level. I've taken judicial notice of the league table and would admonish underperforming entities, especially the bottom 5, to sit up. Board chairs and entity heads have for a long time been overlooked when blame is being apportioned for the downturn in Ghana's economic fortunes, with the flag going largely to sector ministers and to Mr. President. You can no longer stay in the shadows whilst others receive the backlash for the nation's current problems. The time has come for you to own up to this responsibility and take the front stage in our nation's development.
Well, we have for you the latest in the world of sports.
It's match day. The round of 16 of the 2023 UEFA Champions League will begin today as Bayern Munich will take on Paris Saint-Germain as well as AC Milan against Tottenham Hotspur. We have a lot from these games for you this morning. Also, Cody Gakpo scored his first goal for Liverpool as they edged past Everton in the Merseyside derby. Paris Saint-Germain have trained as part of preparations for their game against Bayern Munich. We will also look at how AC Milan players are preparing to take on Tottenham Hotspur in the Champions League today. Former Ghanaian midfielder Lai Kingston has hailed the appointment of Chris Hughton as the new Black Stars coach. And also over 100 under-17 players will be moving to Pram Pram on Wednesday for trial and selection into the national U17 team. Now let's go for this quick break. We'll be back with the details of these and many other stories. Yeah, welcome back. Now let's begin from yesterday's games. Goals from Mohamed Salah and Cody Gakpo were enough for Liverpool to beat Everton in the Merseyside derby. Inter Milan were held to a 0-0 draw against Sampdoria in the Italian Serie A.
Globe TV, bringing the world to you. Globe TV, bringing the world to you. Globe TV, bringing the world to you. Globe TV, bringing the world to you.
The UEFA Champions League is back again. Today happens to be match day 1 of the round of 16. There will be 2 games as Paris Saint-Germain will take on Bayern Munich at the Parc des Princes, as well as AC Milan playing Tottenham Hotspur in Italy. Now we have Paris Saint-Germain trained today ahead of their game against Bayern Munich. Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe are back to training ahead of the game. Let's take a feel of it.
Alors, deux choses. Oui, il y a des capacités hors normes et des capacités de récupération qui sont au-dessus de la moyenne. Ça a déjà été le cas par le passé lorsqu'il y a eu des petits soucis physiques.
So that is how PSG are getting ready to face Bayern Munich. Also, AC Milan have also trained ahead of their game against Tottenham Hotspur. So these are the players for AC Milan: Theo Hernandez, Rafael Leao and the likes, getting ready to face Harry Kane, Son Heung-min, Antonio Conte's side. Now, former Ghanaian international Lai Kingston is delighted with the appointment of Chris Hughton as the Black Stars coach and says the team will benefit enormously from his coaching method. The Ghana FA announced the appointment of the former Republic of Ireland international as the new trainer of the team. The 64-year-old will be assisted by George Boateng and Didi Dramani. However, Kingston, who featured 41 times for the country and scored 6 times, believed the former Brighton boss is a solid gaffer. According to him, Black Stars will benefit from the experience of Hughton due to his knowledge of the modern trend of football. Hughton, before his appointment, served as the technical advisor of the Black Stars. He is expected to name his Black Stars squad for the 2023 African Cup of Nations qualifier doubleheader against Angola, scheduled to come in March, that is the coming days. Now, the first batch of players of the national under-17 male team, otherwise known as the Black Starlets, are to report to the Ghanaman Center of Excellence, Pram Pram, on Wednesday, February 15th, 2023 for camping. The players were selected from a recent scouting exercise that took place across the 10 football regions of the country. The players will undergo screening, training, and also play test matches, as the top quality ones will be picked out to form the nucleus of the next Black Starlets team. In all, about 150 players will have the opportunity to be observed by the U17 technical team, led by Asante Kotoko and Ghana legend Abdul Karim Zito. Ghana were denied passage into the 2023 U17 African Cup of Nations after losing by 1-0 to Burkina Faso in the semi-final of the Wafu Zombie Under-17 Cup of Nations in Cape Coast last year. The Black Starlets are yet to play in the Under-17 African Cup of Nations and the FIFA Under-17 World Cup since 2017. So the players will be reporting tomorrow as the screening and then the training begins at the Ghanaman Soccer Center of Excellence in Pram Pram. So that's all for sports this morning. My name is Robert Konyeh. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you very much for your time this morning. Let's take a recap of the top stories. The Minister for Health, Kwaku Ajuman-Menu, has disclosed that discussions are still ongoing about charges to be imposed on some services rendered by the National Ambulance Service. On energy, Gridco says substantial funding has been received to ensure the reconstruction of many of their old legacy lines to guarantee a more stabilized power supply in the country. Also, Energy Minister has assured of resolving the standoff between the Senior Staff Association of the Northern Electricity Distribution Company and Volta River Authority and their Managing Director. And also, National Youth Authority has advised students not to engage in sexual activities as they observe Valentine's Day. Well, that's all for you this morning. I am Sandra. BOAHEN. Coming up now is Yes and Say. Have a wonderful morning.